Leaving La Fortuna, Arenal Volcan area, this is the road that leads to Volcan Tenorio National Park. Just to give you an idea of what the drive looks like. I mean, it's really pretty, beautiful. I think maybe an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. I think we kind of got lost a little bit, but this is just to give you an idea of what the surrounding landscape looks like leading up to the park. Now, we had quite a bit of trouble finding accommodations. I mean, again, we're sort of winging it by the seat of our pants, if you will. And this area does not have a whole lot of accommodations. We found like a 4-star, real fancy little place. I think it was $300 a night, and it was all booked. And then we went up to the recommended place, which is up the street, maybe 15 more minutes, and it was kind of rough. I mean, it was old, it was dated. It didn't have screens on the windows. Motorcycles were coming and going. It just didn't feel right. So we went down the street a little further, and we're getting slightly desperate, and we stop into this other place, the third place, and it's like super dated, really blown out. And we said, okay, we got to find one more place. And so down another blown out kind of gravelly road, we find this place, which is La Amistad, La Pasada. And I mean, it's an interesting place, to say the least. This is the eating area, the restaurant, and there are tour buses that show up, so they feed people. Come here to go and eat. And I'd have to say that it was $100 a night, including breakfast. These are the two parrots that live on the property, and the first thing they say is "Hola, hola, ¿cómo estás?" And they don't speak English. So, but anyway, they're pretty cute. They clip their wings and they bring the birds in every night to make sure that snakes or other creatures don't get a hold of them. So, I thought that was they were kind of cute. Now, I didn't think they were so cute in some points, because like every so often you hear this little squawk, like a cry, like a baby crying, and I'm thinking, holy crap, man, somebody's got a baby here. And it was actually these darn birds, but since they put them in at night, it wasn't so bad. So this is the inside of the accommodations. This is glamping, primitive style. So there's no air conditioning. It's wide open, not so wide open, but I mean, bugs and anything can come in there, and so they give you these screens to sleep under, and nobody could really sleep on them. They kept falling on your face or on your skin. It was really uncomfortable, but it was the best thing we could find. So leaving that little hotel, you go down this road, and it's pretty rough to get to the entrance to the park, Tenorio Volcano National Park. Still under construction, the pavement, and it's pretty dicey to get up and down this thing. So maybe by the time you get there, they'll have the road completed. Nonetheless, it's one of these parks that are kind of pricey to get in. It may have been $12-14 per person, and I think what you get annoyed with, like, you got to pay for everything. And so the woman that's by the street, she's directing you to park over here, and it's like 2,000 colones, which is almost $4. And you could have parked on the street for free, but you're not sure because you're the first people there, and there's nobody else on the street. And you're worried that, well, if you don't pay the woman, is she just going to scratch your car up? So you never get you always feel like you're being worked over a little bit, and that's always a real drag. And I think in retrospect, so we hit this place, a little information, so we hit this place on the weekend, on a Sunday, and here is the beginning of the trail. It looks pretty cool. It's nicely laid out, cement, whatever it is, good material to walk on. And it leads to the first waterfall, Celeste Waterfalls, which is really quite beautiful. You're going to see it here in a minute. So anyway, what I think happens is that they bring boatloads of people, and they basically walk this main trail to get to the waterfalls, and then they walk back. The trail continues to the where the river has two streams that come in together, and there's a chemical change that happens between the chemical compositions of those two streams, and it changes the color to this beautiful aqua turquoise blue. I mean, it really is sort of special to see. I think the down for us is that you're not really seeing it here. These are a few people, but boy, once we got on the main trail going up to the main part of the river where it changes color, it was a lot of folks, and it really takes you out of being in this cool, primitive environment. You felt overwhelmed, and I think a place that we stayed at after this was rather interesting, because we told the woman, "Oh, don't go." At any rate, she goes, and she just thought there was nobody there. I think she went on a Monday or Tuesday, and she said it was just absolutely spectacular. So, you know, who am I to say? I think that it's everybody has their own flavor, and if you hit it at the wrong time, you can have a bad experience. Or somebody breaks into your car, you're not going to recommend it. So I guess, as in all things, you sort of go with an open mind. I did think, again, that the accommodations are real sparse. You didn't have a whole lot to choose from. You were kind of limited, and so economically you're paying an extra premium for the fact that there's not a whole lot of accommodations. This may be a place that I would probably say, if you know you're going to come, I would book it ahead, and probably for the price, I think the 4-star, the resort was only maybe $300 a night, and you saw what you got for $100 a night. So go make your decision, but I would pre-book this place probably in advance, so you're not stranded, especially, and I'm going to repeat that, especially if you are here anywhere in Costa Rica in the high season. You are going to have to really weigh, can you wing it and just drop into a place and find a place? You probably will, but you're going to probably get the crummy places. Going off season is definitely preferred. This trail does kind of degrade once you pass the Celeste Waterfalls, where it starts going uphill. It's not as well maintained, and it gets pretty muddy, and it's rough. I think the other thing I didn't really like about the park, besides lots of people that were there, was that you couldn't do anything in the park. You can walk and that's it. You can't get in the water. You can't jump the fence. There's actually, which is really cool, there's a hot springs just off of the trail. Some local folks that knew the park, that's where they were hanging out, and we said, "Hey, can you get in there?" And they said, "Yeah, you know, that's what we do all the time." So we went in. I did. And that's kind of what you want. I think with this park, I missed the being able to get into it physically and swim in it, or sit in a hot spring and just be able to relax. I was always looking over my shoulder. Is there a guy going to come by? And there were so many people, you couldn't really sneak around because there's too many people coming. So you couldn't do that. They do have some nice, laid out bridges. This actually is the bridge that leads to Celeste Waterfalls. So again, this part of the trail they have from the entrance to the park. And by the way, at the entrance to the park, don't bring any food. This is one park where you're not allowed to bring anything. So we thought we were going to have a nice little picnic at this place, but they go, "You got to open up your backpack," and they check it out, and they want to see what you're carrying. So this one, I had to actually take the food back and put it in the car. So word of caution, I think water and liquids and stuff like that are just fine. If you want to hide a candy bar on you someplace, I guess you could do that. Here we found a bunch of capuchin monkeys. I mean, eventually you're going to be at some place where these monkeys are prevalent and they're everywhere, so I didn't include a whole lot of footage on it because they were kind of far off in the distance, and it didn't really make a whole lot of sense to try to record it. It's too hard. But here's the water. I mean, this rendering from the camera, the color is not bad. I mean, it is this like Bahamas, Key West kind of turquoisey color. I don't know if they don't let you swim in it because there's funny chemical maybe with swimming in the water, or whether they genuinely are concerned about the people bringing in biological problems into the environment. With all these people, again, this country is a bit of a contradictions. So all of this care and we care about our parks and everything, and then you got people that are hiking on this thing, and I just find like plastic bottles here and there, and so you scratch your head. So once you leave this waterfalls and you continue the trail up to the main feature of the park, which is where the river changes colors. There's two streams that come together, and because of the mineral content of these two streams, which are affected, I think, by the volcano, you get that turquoisey, light blue, sky blue type of a color. But here the trail kind of degrades. It had been raining pretty not strongly, but constantly, and so just the way the trail is, it was pretty muddy and slippery and kind of rough to maneuver on it, because you're sliding and you couldn't quite get your feet clean because there was constant mud. I think maybe some rubber boots are not a bad idea. I think those are $4 or $5 to rent. So if you feel rich, go ahead and rent some boots, and you'll probably be just fine, but make sure you wear socks. I wouldn't want to put your shoes into somebody else's rubber boots. So here you are, we're going along the trail, and again, where the trail ends, this is a nice little lookout, and this is close to where the hot springs are, and I'd recommend, if you're there and there's nobody there, man, I would just go in there and sit in that hot springs and then swim around a little bit and have that experience. I mean, I think for the most part we always wore our bathing suits anytime we went on a hike, expecting that we're going to get into some water someplace. So that certainly makes it a lot more convenient, and you're definitely not going to skinny dip at this place because there's way too many people, certainly on the weekends. So I think maybe for a whole lot less people and maybe ease of getting accommodations, I would avoid this park on the weekends, and I would go here during the week, where you're probably going to just have a whole lot less people. And again, like I said, that woman goes on a Monday or Tuesday, and she said there was hardly anybody there, and she just loved the park. So there you go. I think Tenorio, the name of the park, I think that has to do, I think in English Tenorio translates into dye, kind of like where the water has been dyed a different color. And I think scientists are still trying to explain, and they're talking about it's the size of the minerals and some silicone and aluminum something or other, and it's the way the sunlight reflects or is reflecting through those minerals that gives it this unique special color. The guide at the end of the trail, he's pretty cool. He's a volunteer, and he's going through a nice explanation. This is where, to the left of where you just saw my sons, is where I think the hot springs are. And seeing what you want to do is you want to get in that water and just swim around, But it's clearly marked. There's no swimming, so take your chance. Anyway, he brings out his phone, his iPhone, and he shows all these snakes that he's photographed. They're like real venomous ones, like the green eyelash viper. There's a couple others that are small, and they're quite poisonous. So always, when you're in the tropics, be careful what you grab. It's recommended never to grab branches, and watch even the leaves, because that green eyelash is like, he had a photograph of it just sitting on top of a big old leaf just hanging out. So I think that it's probably smart to develop some awareness of where you're walking and what you're touching. All right, hope you enjoyed it.